All right, welcome back to Comic Book Wednesdays, a weekly series where we discuss comic books. We're your hosts, I'm Ian.
I'm Al.
And I'm Shane.
All right, we're back with some more Transformers comics. And again, it's Transformers, and I apologize. It's Till All Are One, and we read issues 7, 8, and 9 this week. And Shane, why don't you take us away?
Yeah. So with these issues, we started to get we started off with that continuing fight with them boarding Carcer and going through Aelita, like as she's trying to hold everybody back. So in that first issue, with them trying to board it and like all of the fights going on and everything like that, what did you guys think of that one?
It's
Go ahead, Ian.
No, go ahead. You got it. You started first.
I kind of like. I enjoyed that section of seeing what's her name, Windblade, going in and like taking over, and like the whole thing with Obsidian being like, listen, you can't do this. Don't do this. I can't tell you why. Don't do it. Oh shit, she did it.
It's like at that point, wouldn't you rather just tell her?
Yeah, I would think so. It was still fun though.
No, absolutely, I agree. I didn't dislike these issues. Like I like some of I like that the political back and forths, because there's a lot of political stuff here. Even on the battlefield, they're playing this almost hard to get game with either side, because they're like, hey, we got to protect Cybertron, but at the same time, I'm not gonna help you out. Screw you. And
Yeah.
why would I tell you the truth? Because you're just gonna use that to your advantage. It's. I think they said at one point we kept it a secret because even if we told you, it would get out, and then the wrong person would come and use Carcer, and blah blah blah, and
Except
Pilgrim
it didn't have anything to do with any of that.
Aelita, she's a tricky fuck. Like, there's no other way to word that. She's kind of tricky. And I really, in that first issue, my favorite scene out of all of it, there was two. Was the conversation between Bumblebee and Starscream, where Bumblebee is just like, she's risking her life for your planet, for your empire. Like, you gotta do the right thing. And he's talking to Bumblebee, and everyone around him is like, oh god, you're talking to Bumblebee again.
and
I
he's
think they're just getting annoyed.
openly talking to Bumblebee, and Bumblebee's obviously not there, and he doesn't care how people react to that. I found that strange.
Yep.
I like the fact that he's like, you can be better than this. I know you can. And then he's like, no, I can't.
No, I can't.
Yeah. And it shows Bumblebee's face like, the fuck? Dude, even the internal, Jiminy Cricket-esque Bumblebee character is like, the fuck, Starscream, you're a fucking dick. When your conscience is like, you're an asshole. You're an asshole.
Yeah, he's just been an asshole for such a long time that it's definitely coming into question with these issues of does he know how to be anything else, or is he just a permadick?
Oh, he's definitely a permadick.
Though but now we're gonna jump around a little bit.
All good.
The way he switches up and fucking he's essentially the prisoner. What's the blue Transformers name that's in prison?
Chromia.
Chromia. He goes to Chromia go get revenge for Windblade. And that to me is it because he he kind of come around, and even though he was using Windblade, Starscream kind of developed these feelings almost.
In that moment, I honestly felt that maybe that voice of Bumblebee is starting to reach him. Like maybe he's starting to realize, like, hey, I'm trying to keep Cybertron, I'm trying to keep all of this shit together, but maybe you're right. Maybe we got to do a little bit of sneaky shit here. I mean, he's not above doing anything sneaky, but I do agree with you. I think part of his conscience in that moment was starting to leak through the way it was supposed to.
Right. That's how I'm seeing it.
The other one from that end first issue that really kind of like I really enjoyed because it was kind of like a bomb drop where like everyone's saying, like you were saying, like going back to that of like, oh, you can't do this, but we can't tell you why. And then she's like, Carcer, are you there? And it's like Vigilum is online, and she's just like starting to lose control of her own body. Like that was kind of terrifying in that moment.
Oh,
Like with
absolutely.
the eyes and like that panel with the
Yeah.
eyes and her face like kind of droopy. That was cool.
Oh,
And
I
the
like
whole
that
scene
a
where
lot.
it's like coming across the panel, like not Carson, what's his name? Vigil is like
Vigil.
coming across the screen or across the panel. You know, like it's gradually adding parts of his face.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, that is really cool. I love the art in that. The eyes, I think that like were really striking to me personally. Like I just thought that was like one of the coolest things. I do have to say though, if I want to critique these comics overall, I just think the pacing to me is a little off.
Yeah,
Uh,
I can
I
agree with
feel
that.
like cool things happen, but they happen so fast that I feel like I can't spend enough time with those moments. Uh, and this was an issue I had earlier where we went from the kind of like murder mystery type thing to the zombie titans. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's like a flash like that, um, and you kind of see it again when you end issue 8. I think that's the one where Windblade dies or gets whatever happens to her. I believe she's dead.
Yeah, the thing that happens to her.
Right.
Yeah,
She
no,
get
that was 8.
8, and then 9 starts, and it feels like you're in a different place.
Yeah, I didn't care for that at all. It was definitely very like, you know, exactly like you said with the zombie fucking titans. It just didn't feel right.
The pacing's off,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I think
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm saying I think maybe if you have like a half a issue that kind of like shows them coming to that point, maybe it's a little better. Um, I don't know, but go ahead, Shane. God
Oh,
dang.
I apologize. That was wow.
It's all good.
It's all- yeah.
No, I honestly agree with you, and like that was my problem with that last issue was you had everything that happened to Windblade, like you had a little bit of the resolution with Starscream talking to Chromia and being like you need to avenge her, and like more of Bumblebee trying to be like hey like you. Yeah, I remember that scene very vividly where he was just like, yeah, no, you can't, and then like you can't find her guilty, like you need to do this, and then I know you can do the right thing. Next panel, guilty, and I was like, all right, that's pretty goddamn funny.
Oh no, yeah, that
Yeah.
that's perfect. That's a great. That's just like writing good comics there. Like, and it would work good in a movie or a TV show too, because it's that like almost comedic timing.
Yeah,
Uh,
but like that was a good thing. My honest issue was like they went through the whole like Carcer thing, and with Leech Maximo, they gave you a little bit of a snippet with that, which I can absolutely explain who that asshole is.
so
And
let me ask a question. So if you're gonna explain who he
yeah,
is,
yeah.
he is he a prime?
Yes,
Why does he not have prime in his name?
I can absolutely answer that. So, Prime in your name eventually became like a badge of honor. Like if you had Prime in your name, you were considered somebody very respected. The original 13 Primes were the original 13 Transformers. So when the God Primus was a thing, he created 13 Transformers to be his like help to fight against evil.
Okay.
And Liege Maximo was one of the first 13. So he didn't need Prime in his name because there was no one else at the time.
I
Okay.
see. That's it. Any other Transformers that I would know that were one of the first 13?
That you would know.
Yeah, just straight up. Like,
I don't know if you remember this from like old cartoons, but there was one called Vector Prime. Now he chose like his original name was just Vector, but he called himself Vector Prime. Um, he was kind of like this time traveling kind of some bitch. Megatronus was actually one of the 13 primes. Megatron took his like changed his own name to model after him.
oh, okay. Okay.
There was, I think, yeah, there was Megatronus, Solus, Vector, Liege Maximo. I can't name them all without pulling it up, but like,
That's fine.
I don't think you would know any others aside from those.
No, no, probably not. Dude, honestly, it blows
But
my
that was
mind
just
how
an
much lore there
introduction.
is.
Oh yeah, there's buckets, and that's one of the reasons I love it. But like, I also absolutely see the criticism of like, oh, we're trying to figure out the Carcer, and we're like, this dude just popped out of Carcer's body, and like up and disappeared. Like, they're kind of introducing, like, here's a villain, okay, that villain's resolved, okay, here's another villain, and they're doing it fast, and I didn't really like that.
No, I honestly I was expecting over the course of these 12 issues to be dealing with one villain, and it
Yeah,
feels
me
like
too.
every other issue we're getting someone
There's a
new.
different villain.
Yeah.
Because like I don't know to all or one like it feels like this story is very much centered on Starscream's ruling of Cybertron and like how him dealing with shit, and I hope it centers on a character arc where we see him turn into a good leader. I don't know if it'll do that, but I hope so. I think
It's
we might.
I think
Sorry,
it'll answer some of those questions.
that's fair. We still got 3 issues and then the annual, so there's still a lot of comic left. Um, I'm following it a lot better than I did at first. I'm starting to recognize characters. I might not know their names, but I at least know who they are and kind of where
Yeah,
they
you can kind of
lie.
recognize them now, rather than like when we first started, they all looked the same to me.
Absolutely.
I don't understand what happened there, but
All good. I got you. One of the other things that I do have to add here that like was kind of a plus for me was seeing how like crafty Aelita is. Because, she gave this whole big speech where she was just like, yeah, I'm never going to tell lies because like that's goes against me, it goes against my character. I can't lie, but I'm not going to correct anybody if they lie for me. And I'm not above telling half truths. And I'm like, you sneaky fuck! Like, what are you
yeah,
doing?
I don't like her character. Like, she just seems like a very conniving little bitch type of character.
Oh,
Funny.
she right now she is. It's such a surprise from like how she was originally.
Would she be a quote unquote good guy?
She used to be. Um, she was so like a little bit of backstory for her. Her name was originally Ariel, and she was Optimus Prime's like kind of love interest,
Right,
and it was
right.
mutual between the two of them. She got killed by Megatron. She got rebuilt and changed her name to Aelita 1, and then like basically lived out the war, and that's why like she looks all damaged because a lot of that damage was caused by Starscream and Megatron. So like for her, every time she sees them, it's just how much does she have to resist to kill them on sight. So you could make the argument of like, wow, war really did like kind of change her, but
Yeah. It's fascinating. It's. I feel like Transformer comics, or like Transformers in general, it's hard to like follow if you're not starting from the beginning. Just because you don't know. It's like if you read an obscure comic book character. Like if you were to read Wonder Man comics and start it wherever.
Wonder Man. Wow, what a pull, Ian.
Thanks.
wow.
Do you know what I mean? Though, like,
Yeah,
you might
definitely.
enjoy it, and after a while, you're like, oh, I get these characters. But to understand the nuances and the relationships of all the characters it's going to be very difficult to do.
Well, it's really interesting because like that's kind of how when we first started reading Marvel, that was a little bit how I felt. Where I was like, okay, I know some of these faces, I know some of what's going on, but like when we started getting into it, I was like, what in the fuck? Like I was lost. I was enjoying every minute of it, but I was lost.
Speaking of Marvel, have you guys watched at least the first 2 episodes of X-Men '97
No,
yet?
no, don't say anything because I'm fucking watching the original series right now, and I
Okay.
don't want to watch it yet.
I'm not gonna spoil anything. All I'm saying is when you do, keep an eye out for a character that we know from Hickman's run. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, really?
Okay, okay. Looking forward to that.
But yeah, but so that's where I am with Transformers. I like what I'm reading. It's a little hard for me to follow at times. I'm not a huge fan of the pacing, and I
That's fair.
kind of feel like I need more background. Like I almost have to Google stuff. Like
Yeah, I get that. It's
but
good, but it's definitely like you have. There's not enough backstory with what we're getting from this story, in my opinion.
No, that's very fair, and like that's something that like I kind of forget, to be honest, because I'm so versed in it that as
Yeah.
I'm reading it, I'm like, oh yeah, this makes sense to me. Not realizing like, oh, it makes sense to me because I understand what's happening. Like,
Right.
that's my fault. I'm sorry.
No,
no,
that's
you don't have to
it's not a
apologize.
problem at all. Yeah, don't apologize.
You're introducing us to a book that you like, and we're happy to read it. I mean, that's the whole point of this, right?
Yeah.
No, it's very true. And like one of the things I did find kind of funny is that we didn't get a lot of backstory, except for Liege Maximo. Like there was some explanation there for him,
Oh, there
but
is.
like, and then for like some of the other stuff, it was like, yeah, here's this villain, here's this, and you're like, okay, well, what are you doing? Like all of the Titans that just came out of nowhere. They're like, yep, there's Titans.
Uh huh. They're
Roll with
like,
it.
and what I liked is when they, like not really, but like kind of thought was funny. When they
Yeah.
introduced the zombie titans, they're like previously on, and they showed a scene from another comic where you're like, I'm like,
Huh?
what do you? I'm like, what is
What?
this?
This didn't happen last comic.
I
You
went back and
lie.
looked. I went back and looked. I was like, wait a sec, this didn't happen at all.
No, it's so funny because like I didn't read the Combiner War one. I've heard of it and I know enough of like some lore things that like when they were like, yeah, here's these zombie combiners, I was like, when the hell did we have zombies? What is happening here? That was new for me too when I first read that. And then same thing like you said, like previously on, and like I had that moment too where I was like, did I just like blank? Was I high? Did I not read this?
Right. It's kind of where I was, and I had such a hard transition that week when we like started reading the Titan stuff. But yeah, I don't know, Shane. Yeah, definitely don't apologize.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
There's no need for that.
yeah, we're enjoying it.
Well, and I appreciate it. With that being said, was there anything else that came up? Because like I've kind of gone over all the stuff that I wanted to go over. Like, was there anything else that came up that you guys wanted to talk about?
Well, then we mentioned the background to Maximo, them actually giving you like flashbacks and information on his background. I
Yeah.
want to say like the art style in that section of the comic was fantastic. I loved kind of like the painting look to it. Um, it was fun. I'm glad they did
It
something like that.
it did make it seem like it was older, like it was supposed to be older, which is
Yeah.
nice because he's ancient compared to everybody else.
I would like to see more about that era in Transformers, like learn about their creation and the start of all that. That'd be really cool.
Well, I was kind of thinking like for sticking with the theme for me, like when I do picks, it's either gonna be Transformers or Power Rangers. I'm just gonna kind of alternate between the two. I'm not gonna lie.
That's fine with me. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind. I'm probably going to be
Yeah.
sticking with Marvel, to be honest, but
I mean, I'm gonna probably bounce between X-Men and Star Wars, so you know,
We got our
I get it.
favorites.
Yeah.
all right, well, I mean, I don't have anything else to add. I think I touched everything that I wanted to talk about with it. Al, anything?
Me as well. No,
Okay.
I'm good.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah, next week is 10, 11, 12.
Yep, we'll be continuing there, and then what we'll do after that is we'll spend a week just focusing on the annual, and then wrapping up our thoughts. All right, Al, you're in the hot seat. Getting there
Oh
soon.
man, I know it's coming, and I'm not sure what we're doing yet, but we'll figure it out before that comes.
Hey, I believe in you.
Definitely, somebody.
It's probably gonna be. There's a lot of good X-Men stories that I really would like to dive into, but I really want to focus something on Gambit. So that is kind of where I'm heading towards. I know we talked about the Phoenix saga, but I just feel like there's so much more interesting characters than Phoenix and Dark Phoenix.
Okay.
Amen. I'm I don't know much about the X-Men, so I take your word for it, and I'll
Yeah.
be willing to do anything you want.
I mean, there's so many good stuff. Like New Mutant stuff is awesome. Like there's a lot. Excalibur, all the characters that aren't X-Men characters that we know and love from like the original '90s series. Like all those characters are fucking. There's great characters in them. So I'll figure something out. I'm getting there.
Look forward to it. If you you want to throw any ideas off of me, go ahead, throw them my way. I'll be happy to
Yeah.
give you any type of like help, even if it's just like putting a vote towards something. You know.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I think that's it for us for now. So appreciate everybody who's listening. If you have any suggestions for Alex, give a comment.
Preferably X-Men. Appreciate it.
All right, y'all. That was Comic Book Wednesdays. You have a good night.
See y'all.
Have a good night.